Our retention is really, really good, but I've been thinking to myself recently, well, how can I scale the business from here? We've got a great product. How can I make more money from my current customers while still providing them with an amazing service? And so what we're actually going to be doing now is essentially delivering the marketing services, but then also delivering the sales and closing services, as well as all the little bits in between.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Growth House Podcast. I am your host, Jesse Ray. I am here with Louis Evitt, coming from across the pond. It's like, 9 o'clock over there right now?
Yeah, mate, we're putting in a bit of a shift to sneak this podcast in today, but I'm very, very excited to be here and chat.
No, I'm excited too. And I know we talked a little bit before we just started airing, and I think we have a lot of things in common. And what I wanted to kind of tell the people, and we'll get into all this. So you have you now are in the online and business marketing space, but you were a former professional rugby player.
Yeah, so that's how I started out, was a professional rugby player. And for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's like American football, but the more manlier version. We don't wear pads and everything to cover us up. But yeah, started out as an ex-professional rugby player. Not an ex-professional rugby player, professional rugby player. Got badly injured when I was 18, and then went up to start my own marketing agency, and from there been involved in various other things like info products, e-com products, and a private members club, which we can chat about in a little bit.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. So walk me through that early stage of starting. Like, you get hurt, and then how do you find the online business and marketing world?
Yeah, I would love to give you like a really fancy and strategic answer, but to be honest with you, I just didn't have another choice. If you can imagine, I actually imagine it's very similar to like a lot of college football players in the States. All I ever knew was sport. All I ever knew was rugby. I messed about in school all day, messed about in college all day. All I wanted to do was play rugby. So I wasn't the most studious of people, and I was probably not the best behaved either. So when I had that injury, it's not like I had a load of great grades to fall back on and a load of universities dishing out scholarships for me. It was pretty much get a job with no qualifications or start my own thing. Being involved in sport, you're quite a predisposed leader, someone who's quite confident. So I wanted to try my hand at starting my own business before I went to work for someone else. And to be honest with you, again, I'd love to give you the really fancy answer. I said I was amazing at what I did when I was 19 years old and I was the best marketeer in the world, but I definitely wasn't. I just got a bit lucky. There'll be loads of guys, I imagine, who you speak to and will give you a really technical answer, but a lot of the time, as you'll know, mate, it's just a bit of luck, just being in the right place at the right time, putting yourself out there. And that's, I suppose, what snowballed me into this sort of online business career. And that's where it went from, was when I was 19, just started my own little marketing agency, charging people a couple $100 a month. From there, I'm sitting here.
What kind of marketing did you start getting into? Because I know, like, we talked about it offline as well. Like, E-Man was actually my first coach in the marketing space, and I was just all in on Facebook leads. So how'd you get introduced to the online marketing world?
Yeah, to be honest with you, had always done a little bit for my family business. My mum and dad worked very hard running a travel agency, and always done little bits and bobs for them, just like on Facebook, Instagram, really bog standard social media management, nothing special. And I actually niched towards trying to help professional athletes for their life after sport. That was my initial niche. So we worked with some like Premiership and international rugby players, a couple football players as well, basically using their personal brand that they built over the course of playing sport to prepare them for life after sport, whether they retire, whether they get injured, that sort of thing. And that was like the initial niche. From there, I sort of identified those pain points within the business that actually made that niche very hard to scale. There was agents getting involved, stopping us and vetoing us with a lot of our services. So from there, went down a more B2B route, offering things like website building, videography and photography, SEO services, ad services. We're now pretty much full stack. So we work with a lot of 7-figure businesses who are a bit more traditional, looking to employ like a full stack team without having to like directly employ them. And then we pretty much just do everything for them. They offload everything to us. And that's sort of been our niche. We haven't got like a service niche per se. It's just, if you're a 7-figure business, bit traditional, want like updating into the 21st century without the hassle, they come to us. So we'll just literally do everything for them.
That's awesome. What kind of industries do you typically work with?
We work with a very diverse range of industries. So we work with some SaaS companies, we work with some property developers, some construction companies. We've worked in a health and wellness sector for the likes of Bear Grylls' gym chain. Anthony Joshua had like a e-com product that we worked on that he invested in. We've worked with International Search and Rescue, doing like videography and photography for them, who are part of the United Nations. So pretty much everyone and anyone.
That's awesome. Do you have like a niche where you're like, oh, I really love working with this industry or this type of person?
Yeah, I think for me, health and fitness, like health and wellness. Even though I don't play pro rugby anymore, I still play like semi-pro, I suppose it would be classed as. Really big into jiu-jitsu as well. So they're like my two sports. So I've always gravitated towards health and wellness sector. In the process of releasing my own e-commerce project at the moment, which is called No Way. Essentially a canned protein water, all vegan, clean label, 5 ingredients only. It's a really interesting process. But that's, always health and wellness I've gravitated towards, working with athletes on the influencer side of things, influencer management, always towards athletes. I suppose it's just my bread and butter from the rugby background.
That's awesome. So this is a e-commerce product that you're about to launch, right? No way.
Yeah, it's called No Way because it's literally got no way in it.
Okay, I'm actually excited to hear about this because I'm someone
Yeah,
that
yeah.
doesn't have dairy, and it's so hard to find protein, especially with like shakes that have,
Yeah.
no whey in it. So do you use
Yeah, yeah.
animal or plant-based? What is it?
Well, I just want to be very clear. I haven't paid Jesse to say that, guys. If you're watching this, but thank you for endorsing it. I
I
might have
got
to
you.
clip that up, and use it in an ad. So essentially, it's literally what it says on the tin. Most protein shakes are derived from whey, which is a byproduct of the dairy industry. The issue is that when a lot of people drink it, if they're obviously dairy intolerant, or even if they're not, it can churn their stomach up, make them feel sluggish. Some people, or a lot of people, should I say, report that it affects their skin, makes their skin bad. Generally, doesn't taste nice, not an enjoyable experience. So what we've said is, how can we basically take clear protein, and make it a bit more commercialized, a bit more convenient. So obviously you can buy clear protein in like powder format in tubs, but what we thought is we want to pre-mix it in a can. It's not actually available out there. You can buy it in bottles, but there might be like 20, 30 ingredients in it. This is literally going to be, well, we're aiming for it, 5 ingredients, as I said. It's vegan. We weren't trying to be like a vegan product. It's just a beautiful convenience of the product is also vegan. So we're hitting that market. It'll be 20 grams of protein, less than 100 calories. So for me, I'm aiming to get like 220 grams of protein in a day. I get to like 180, and either I'm really full and don't really want to eat anymore, or it's like late at night, where this, in theory, could bang a can of that gets me up to like 200 grams of protein. Bang a can in the morning, in the evening, it's 40 grams of protein in like a 330ml can. So yeah, the brand is pretty cool. My business partner, his product was on Dragon's Den, which is like your version of Shark Tank. He's got a lot of operational and logistical experience in e-commerce products, and then I'm obviously headed up the marketing and sales side, and obviously have quite a good network of people to push this to. So it's been an interesting experience, an expensive one as well. Didn't realize the expense of actually starting your own product up. Always done the marketing for people, never started it myself. But yeah, we went to the factory the other day. We've got the recipe development next week, so super exciting. I'll make sure I sponsor an episode of the Gross House
Let's
podcast with
go. I
you.
love
Just
it.
need to give it a little plug and hold it up.
Yeah, currently our sponsor is Sedona Water, the best water in the world, but maybe it'll be No
Yeah.
Way in a couple months.
Yeah,
So,
protein water though. This is protein water, so you can still keep
come
them
on
as a
now.
sponsor. No conflict there.
Dang, right there, co-branded sponsor. I love it.
Yeah.
So, I want to ask you this. When you start a company, especially like this e-commerce, I know you're just starting it, but a lot of friends of mine always start companies with the end in mind. And so even if they don't have an idea of like, hey, I want to sell this in X amount of time, they kind of structure the business in that way. So is that something that you're kind of thinking about now as you're about to launch this company?
So yeah, you have PBT and OBT. So you have like process-based thinking and outcome-based thinking. A lot of successful entrepreneurs, I think there's some studies behind it, have said that they are normally outcome-based thinkers. So they essentially pick the outcome and work backwards from it, as opposed to working things out on the fly. As I've said, I would love to like have, give you some fancy answer and say, we've structured all this out. We haven't. A lot of it for an e-commerce product in particular, we are e-com, but we will be doing B2B as well through like a distribution network, vendor machine network, that sort of thing. But in terms of like an e-commerce product, I think you have to very much think on your feet and think on the fly. One of the biggest issues I see with like entrepreneurs, with business in general, is they've got a great idea. They spend loads of time thinking about it, loads of time planning it out, loads of time strategizing about it, but they never actually get round to do it. They have this entrepreneur mentality instead of entrepreneur mentality. I think we initially come up with the idea with this in like August. So within the space of a couple of months, we've strategized the idea. We've come up with all the branding, all the name, trademarked it. We've started recipe development. We'll be hitting shelves by, second week in January, we hope. So yeah, a lot of it is on the move. We have tentatively said this is our £100 million company. That's our goal over like the next 5 to 10 years, grow it to £100 million.
Cool. That sounds exciting about the e-commerce. And I usually don't talk about e-commerce, but it's just fresh in my brain since my friend Josh, who was a podcast right before this one, buys e-commerce brands. And he specializes more health and beauty and potentially even fitness. So typically he buys companies when they're at $400,000 annual revenue to $4 million. And so it'd be a good connection. Maybe I'll connect you guys.
Yeah, mate. If he wants to chuck us, 50, 100 million, to buy it, give him my number, man.
There you go. Yeah, we'll talk down the road. That's exciting though. I'm excited for that. So talk to me about Run Agency Architecture.
Yeah, so agency architecture is a bit of a passion project of mine. Big bugbear for me when there's so many info products at the moment. It seems to be the next gold rush. A few years ago, it was crypto, social media marketing agencies before that. Now it's info products. And it's a big bugbear of mine when people have info products trying to sell stuff to people, but they don't necessarily have experience in doing that, whatever that service might be. My agency architecture community is essentially to teach people not how to get to 10 or 20K per month. It's there to teach people the fundamental skills to run a small agency, how to get to 2 to 3K per month extra in terms of income, which to a lot of people watching this, you said you had a big audience who were like, in that startup phase, that's life-changing money. If you're used to working in a normal job, an extra 3K income per month could literally change your life. It's paying for your mortgage, it's paying for all the luxury things that you want in your life. So that's what the community is all about. We have a big array of people inside of it. I only launched it last month. We've got headed on to 100 members now, and we have, cheers, mate. It's been a big learning curve, but I really enjoyed doing it. So there's a full course on there. We host weekly calls, post every day, like little gems, little pieces of value. And it's quite rewarding, to be honest with you. And I think it's important at a point where I'm in my life now to do something that's quite rewarding and that I enjoy. So that's the whole point behind agency architecture.
I love it. And then what's the revenue that you typically do monthly or annual on your own agency?
It varies, to be honest with you. And I try to avoid answering the question. And I was actually asked this on a podcast not too recently. And the reason is because I think, so many people say, I run a 100K per month agency. But what actually is that? Have you had 1 month of the year that's done 100K? And you think now you're running a 100K per month agency, or you're running a 6-figure agency? Or are you consistently doing 100K every single month? My agency has fluctuated doing, low 5 figures to high 5 figures a month. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's like a 6-figure agency, I suppose, month on month. We do 6 figures a year, of course. I think now, because the way the marketing agency model works, it's particularly hard to do more than 100K per month. And as an agency model, there will be people on here who might say differently. I think in terms of the structure and the process for an agency and the competition out there, super, super hard to do that. Maybe 1 in 10 agencies might do more than that. And that's me being super direct with you and transparent. Too many people bullshit about the numbers that they're doing. And I think people just see straight through it, to be honest with you. I definitely see through it when I'm listening to podcasts. I think now we're actually looking to transition into more of a growth partner model, which
break
is
that
where
down for me. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so my agency has done very, very well in the past. It's always we've always worked on great margins. We've, most importantly to me, delivered a great service to our customers. We have a ridiculously brilliant retention rate of customers. A lot of agencies I see trying to charge customers 10, 15K at a time, but these customers only retain for 3 months. We have customers that we've been working with for over 10K retainers for maybe 18 months now. Our retention is really, really good, but I've been thinking to myself recently, well, how can I scale the business from here? We've got a great product. How can I make more money from my current customers while still providing them with an amazing service? And so what we're actually going to be doing now is essentially delivering the marketing services, but then also delivering the sales and closing services, as well as all the little bits in between. So the idea being, if I bring my customer, a new customer, let's say if they're currently getting 50 leads per month, if I can get them 100 leads per month, you could argue you're somewhat doubling their revenue. Then if I can help change their closing rate from 10 to 20%, so they're closing double the amount of leads that they were before, and then we take a revenue share out of that. So we might take 10% of the revenue for that. So we get in our retainer plus a rev share, and we're essentially helping the business grow. We have a 12-month runway. My marketing agency at the moment doesn't do contracts. So a bit of a USP for us. I've never locked people into contracts, because if I don't want to work with them and they don't want to work with me, why are we working together? And that's
I think the same
why
way.
that's why we've got such a good retention. So yeah, this model supports you need to basically have like a 12-month runway. So just in the process of doing some extended learning about exactly how I deploy this with like a mentor, and then that's what I'm looking to do with the agency in 2025.
I love it. And also just talking about like revenue numbers, I think it's just so funny because we both can see through, okay, that's awesome. You did 100,000 in revenue, but what's that? What's the profit? What
Yeah.
do you take home from that? And I
Yeah.
think that's
What do
something
you
that's
take
been
home?
very much exposed in the last couple of years, because we've seen online all these people saying they're making, crazy amount of money. And it's like, you're probably spending 90% of that on, the ads, the ad budget.
Well, look at ecom guys, mate. Talking about ecom, I could put 10 ecom guys in front of you now who I know are doing $1 million a month, but the amount of money that an ecom beast needs feeding is ridiculous. They're not taking home $1 million a month. All I'll say is, if you want to get into an agency model, if you set it up the right way, you have very, very good profit margins. You can have a very good quality of life. And my agency, I will never exit from it for hundreds of millions of pounds. There'll be people who might sit here and tell you that their agency is doing 400k a month, which again I will question very heavily, and that they're going to exit it one day for 20-30 million. But no one's buying a marketing agency for 20 or 30 million, mate. It's not happening. A lot of agencies work because the owner operators behind them. All of my clients, I think, work with us because of me and the personalized service that I give, as well as my team, obviously, but the personalized involvement that I have. As soon as you take me out of that, I don't think my agency is my agency anymore. So I'll never be able to sell it for millions. It just gives me the capital and the cash flow to go and deploy into like the big ideas, no way, stuff like that.
That's so cool. I love that, man. Let's transition. Let's talk about Jen's Croquet Club, something that I want to learn more about. And it's been a lot on YouTube. And E-Man was, like I told you, probably my second coach. I had a stocks coach that helped me with option trading and like covered calls. And then after I got some capital from there, I'm like, oh man, I want to start a marketing agency. And so it's kind of funny how I got connected with E-Man. This is back in 2020, 2019. And it was right before the world shut down. And he was specializing at the time in Facebook leads. And I'm like, all right, cool. Let's do Facebook leads. But he told me to get a niche, right? Or a niche. And my niche was med spas. So I literally went to a med spa conference. I will always remember this because I went to a med spa conference in 2020 and I was probably the only guy there. It was all women talking about Botox and stuff. And I was there, talking about Facebook leads and Facebook ads. And on the flight home is when we got the, news that everything's getting shut down. And then I ended up kind of just moving away from that agency, but kind of a crazy story how I'm still, connected and kind of lived that agency lifestyle for a few months. We got probably 3 or 4 clients on retainer for a month while I was still working my corporate job. So I love the agency model. I think it's awesome. But going back to Jen's Croquet Club, owned by E-Man, what's the connection there? How'd you get connected with it?
So essentially, first and foremost, I was a member, and then the current CEO, Ali Haider, we always hit it off, and I suppose I was one of the members who were trying to add a load of value into the community. Whenever anyone had a query or response, considering I'm from quite, in the middle of nowhere in the UK, I'm not from London. I know a lot of Americans think that
I thought
the UK is just London.
the whole UK is
Yeah,
London.
yeah. I know a lot of Americans think that, but I can assure you there's UK is a lot bigger than just London, and there's some much nicer places than London outside of the UK. One of them, however, is not where I'm from. Yeah, I was from relatively, in the middle of nowhere. I've seemed to have a good network. I've always put a massive reliance on networking and putting myself out there, just because, to be honest with you, it's really difficult to get anywhere in life now if you don't do that, I think. Ali just sort of approached me after we had some conversations about how I could potentially help the community and come on board a little bit more formally. Came on board, now help run all of the marketing for GCC the events, regular dinners, that sort of thing. We've got our next event, which is sort of Iman's, I suppose, I don't mastermind we're calling it, but it'll be a little bit of everything. That's in December, so that's in Dubai, which will be amazing. So myself and Ali will be going out to help support with that. We've got June bugging. We've hired out Aura Skypool for the business seminar one of the mornings, which is, if you don't know, the biggest 360 degrees, tallest 360 degrees infinity sky pool in the world. So we've hired out the palm view overlooking the whole of the palm for that seminar. We've got a yacht, which we'll be going on to from there, and a nice dinner planned, a couple of other little surprises and treats. So that'd be really good just to close out the year, have a little bit of a recap of everyone's businesses. Got some amazing guests coming to that as well. Literally, your once in a lifetime sort of founders and entrepreneurs. So going to be a really cool mixture of people.
That's so awesome. Yeah, let's dive into this because community is something that we both, definitely enjoy, and I think is definitely a purpose and passion of mine. Now that is kind of what I mostly do and focus on. So I guess to start off, what is the typical demographic of someone in GCC, and then what's the value that they kind of get and you're able to bring to them?
Yeah, it really varies, to be honest with you. We have guys doing all sorts of things across all the different businesses. I think the last time I checked, don't quote me on this, but we have members from 45 different countries. So huge array of countries, a big contingency of them obviously being in like the UK, Dubai, America. We have a lot of Dutch guys as well for some reason. We don't just have guys as well. We do have some women members and women guests that come to the events. And, their businesses are across info products, e-com, crypto, even more tertiary industries like property development, property maintenance. We have guys who are steel traders, literally everything, mate. And my favorite thing about it is you can put a query on there. I think the other day I actually put on there, like, could anyone give me like a link or a connection with Stephen Bartlett? And like within a day, someone give me a link. Like, you could put the strangest business request on there and someone will always be able to help you out. If not, they'll know someone who can help you out. I think that's probably the main thing that you get from it. That's super, super powerful. You've literally got a community of guys who are from a load of different industries, all doing different revenue markers. And I would say that there's two direct benefits from it. If you're a guy whose ecom business is doing 100k a month, you can learn off the guy in there whose ecom business is doing £1 million a month. So that's the first thing. The second way that you can benefit off there is like direct business. So let's say if you are in GCC and you need a website building, there'll be a guy in GCC who builds websites, and there's that direct monetary exchange. And I would also say you will always get a better service from someone inside GCC. It's very much like, I would describe it as a brotherhood. It's a very close-knit community. Some of the guys in there I would now class as like my best friends. I've been traveling with them away from GCC. I speak to them on a daily basis. Their businesses are doing huge figures, and they're, most importantly, good people, which is the most important thing in life.
100%. You touched on so many points that I just always preach. It's like, what's the purpose of community and what's the purpose of masterminds? It's like people are paying a certain amount to be in that room, so they're serious about their business. On top of that, like you just said, you have now friends. I didn't have any friends in entrepreneurship or even at the similar mindset of wanting to grow back when I was in a corporate job. It's not until I moved to Arizona, got a house, and then invited people to come live with me, kind of created my own little community. And now it's, blossomed and grown. And I'm part of so many other communities I pay, thousands of dollars for, even tens of thousands of dollars for some of these. So you touch on so many points there. I mean, I'm sure you can relate. It's a lonely journey unless you're around these type of people that are all thinking in the same way. And it's cool to like go hang out with your friends and go on vacation, but it's even better when you have someone there, because we're always thinking about business. It's just who we are. So to chop it
Yeah,
up,
mate.
talk about business, and also have fun together.
100%. And I think a lot of it for me is like finding belonging and relating to people. I probably have, two friends from like really like my ride or dies. One of them is doing super, super well in his software business, and he's also in GCC. He's actually the person who told me about it. And then I've got another friend who's also in GCC. I told him about it, and he's my business partner for No Way. And then the other guys from around the world, amazing friends in Dubai, amazing friends in the Netherlands, amazing friends in the States, in Bali, in Australia, in South America, everywhere. And that has all come from GCC. And I know as well that I could put a message on there saying I'm going to the most obscure place in the world. There will be someone who is either there or has great connections there, who will put me in touch with someone who will show me around, and I'll have an amazing experience because it's like being shown around by someone who lives there, which is always better than just discovering somewhere that you know nothing about. That's the power of a network like GCC, the power of a network like the Growth House. You know, you could literally be anywhere in the world at any time, and on a moment's notice fly somewhere and have a contact there who's going to, you know, be able to get into things with you and like have deep and, you know, excuse the phrase, but like deep and meaningful conversations, which means so much more to me than just surface level chit chat. I have no time for small talk. I will literally just switch off. It's like one of my biggest character flaws is like, if I'm not interested in what someone is saying, I would just switch off because I just got no time for bullshit, basically.
I hear you on that, man. I want to
Yeah.
ask you, because a lot of GCC is run obviously off of the back of, you know, E-Man's name and his, you know, rise to popularity, especially over the last couple of years when he went all in on the personal brand. How do you, as the CMO, really market? You know, are you trying to market away from it as almost a separate, you know, business entity? Because I'm just trying to figure out what's your position on how you market GCC.
Yeah, I suppose with us, our main thing is about providing our members a great experience. We don't have to really do outbound marketing, to be honest with you. Obviously, I think no one could put a community together like someone like Iman and his brand can. And what he's done is absolutely insane for the online community. You know, he's probably like the name that comes up when you talk about online money, and no one can take that away from him. I think that GCC has a lot of potential, and I think we've got some big plans for it. Iman is obviously the face of GCC. He started it. It was his idea. We're obviously the team behind GCC. I believe are some of the best in the business who help run it, and he doesn't have to really worry about what we're doing. We've always got the best interests of our members first and foremost, and every direction and every step that we take is to essentially create a better experience for our members, whether that be creating new partnerships, arranging events, arranging dinners, connecting members with other valuable members who they'll get on with or can answer their business queries, whether it's getting discounts on software or free courses, you know, that our community have access to, that Iman's produced, stuff like that. So yeah, it's not too hard to market, to be honest with you. We obviously have an external marketing side, you know, on Instagram and socials and that sort of thing, but to be honest with you, we wouldn't need that. It's just there because that's almost a given. It's what you have to do nowadays. But our community would still be exactly the same if we didn't have that, and we'd sell out on all of our events like we do every single time, even if we didn't have a external, you know, marketing side of things. A lot of what I actually do is more to do with the events and hosting the events. The CMO title, I suppose, is just a bit of a vanity metric for me.
Well, let's dive into that because this is something like we can nerd out. You know, we have a little bit of time left, probably wrap up about 5 minutes, but talk to me about community events. What does that look like? Because, you know, we run events as well, but I just love to brainstorm different ideas that people are doing. Do you cap it at a certain amount of people? I guess also, how big is the community right now? And do you ever have the intention to cap it where, you know, there's a wait list?
We are actually not accepting members at the moment into the community. We're going to be launching new memberships in 2025. That's just purely because we wanted to focus on our current members and essentially delivering the best possible service to them. In terms of events, we normally cap events. We had our Marbella event in July. I think we capped that at 25 people. The Dubai event has been capped at 17 guests, I believe. So super intimate, super personal. And to be honest with you, mate, I think that sold out in like 2 days. We posted it on Instagram. We actually sold a lot of tickets internally before that. Instagram, we just posted it on there to notify members who might not have seen the announcement on Discord, but that sold out in like 2 days. Very limited numbers normally. I don't think we'll ever run an event for like 100 people. You just lose that intimacy and you lose that ability to connect with everyone. I believe that multi-day events are the best sort of thing to do because, you know, even if you're in a, you know, a dinner or a mastermind or a room full of like 10 people, you're not going to be able to build meaningful connections and have meaningful talks with them over like the course of a dinner. That takes multiple days. And what I would also say is at these events, I've gone away being amazing friends with people who on day one, I would have never thought I've got on with or got friends with. It's just, we've nurtured that relationship over the course of multiple days. And now, we're great friends, let's say. So that's normally the full format, multiple day events, a bit of business, a bit of like fun, where like to loosen people up and like to get everyone mixing and connecting. And yeah, just a bit of effort. We never like strictly run just a mastermind. I think people switch off, or like, you know, just a party. Like we try and do a little bit of everything if we can.
I love that, man. No, it sounds incredible. Do you guys usually charge like initiation to get into the membership, and then that gives you access to all those things, right? The Discord, all the different, do you guys also, I think you said dinners, but then do you charge additional amount for like the experience? Like obviously people aren't going to be able to go to buy experience and it's just included.
Yeah. So how it actually works is you, as I said, we're opening up a wait list in 2025 to take on new memberships. So there'll be an entrance fee for memberships. And then in terms of the events, you obviously pay additionally to come to events. And we try and have a mixture of GCC guests and members, along with some people who are outside of GCC, just to keep fresh faces coming in so they can provide value to our members and our members can provide value to them. We audit those people heavily and make sure they're of the criteria that is up to, you know, the GCC standard, which I believe as a member is like the gold standard for any community. And, you know, value is not just about taking or giving, it's about exchanging. And we want to make sure that the people who are coming in do that, and also our members are doing that. What actually happens is the GCC members will get a discount on the event, so the guests will pay a slightly higher ticket price, which I think is only fair. You need some benefits and perks with being part of the community, so that's normally how it works.
I love it. What's the best way people can reach out to you, man? Because I know after hearing this, and everyone knows how much, I am a proponent of mentorship, communities, and GCC sounds incredible. So what's the best way that someone can reach out to you?
Yeah, so it's at the Louis Evitt on all socials. You can head across to my YouTube. I've been doing a big YouTube push,
Dude, I like the
lately.
YouTube, man. I've watched a couple of those videos. They're awesome.
Yeah, it's a mixture of things, to be honest with you. You know, I'd love to say that it's all really informational stuff. There is obviously a load of education based stuff on there, you know, all to do with running a marketing agency, how to scale one, entrepreneurship, foundership in general. There's also just some vlogs about my lifestyle and just trying to open people's eyes up to what is possible, not necessarily a marketing agency, but like the whole online money theme in general. It's such a cheesy word, but definitely changed my life. You know, online services, online agency has like changed my life and allows me to do pretty much, you know, what I'm enjoying to do every single day. So yeah, at the Louis Evitt, I'll never ignore a DM for like advice. If you reach out to me and want some advice, I will always get back to you. Even if I don't know the answer, I will always point you in the right direction. It's very important to me to always help people. And yeah, cheers for having me on, Jesse. I've really enjoyed it. I do a lot of podcasts and this has definitely been one of the more enjoyable ones. It's really cool to connect.
Absolutely, man. No, it's been a pleasure, and we want to say one last thing. So, Growth House, we're very much a go-giving community, meaning you just said people can reach out to you. You respond to DMs. Awesome. But no one's going to reach out to you and just say, hey, can I pick your brain? What kind of value can we give you? It could be something small, could be something big, resource, connection, a like, subscription on YouTube, whatever, that someone can say, hey, just listen to the Growth House podcast. Really loved you talking about this, and that. Also, I have a connection or a resource. Just what kind of value can we give to you when we do reach out and asking for something?
Oh, what a good question. For me, I'm always looking for like feedback and advice. When I was 19, 20 years old, first started my marketing agency, I did what any 19, 20-year-old does and think that they're right all the time. And I was very against feedback. Not against it, but I always just used to think I was right all the time. And over the course of the last 5 years, one of my biggest things that I've tried to work on personally is being able to take feedback and not take it as criticism, but just take it as feedback and adapt and be more self-aware and, you know, present active consciousness to work on it. So one of the things that I would say is people want to give me value, get inside agency architecture, which is it's a free community, by the way. I'm not charging for it at the moment. Get inside, give me feedback on my product, buy into the community. And by buying, I don't mean in terms of money. I mean, like, be active on there, take all of the value that I'm giving you, which is, by the way, taking me a load of time and effort to put together to make sure it doesn't go to waste. So that's what you could do for me. It's hosted on School. I'll maybe send a link. You can put it in the description.
Let's make that happen, man. And I love just your mentality and what you're going like for, which give away everything for free, man. Like, you sell the implementation, kind of like Alex Hormozy talks about. And I think that's just a way better way to do business. And it's awesome, man. And, doing the math, it sounds like you're probably 24, 25 now.
Yeah, I'm 26 actually. So I am getting on a little bit now.
All right, you're
Yeah.
getting you can say you're still in your mid-20s. So this is another
Yeah.
just testament of someone out here crushing it, started young. And I love that. You know, we have people that have exited for 9+ figures in their business and maybe they're 35, 40, but then there's also people like you, man, 26, hungry, getting after it. And I've just really enjoyed this conversation. We're going to stay in touch.
Yeah, likewise, mate. And I'd love to learn more about the Growth House and what you're doing there. Sounds amazing. And yeah, just to finish, like if there's one piece of advice I really appreciate you picking up from it is you said there you've really enjoyed the conversation, really like transparent conversation. Just be super honest and genuine when doing business. There is so many bullshitters in the world of online money. Just be super honest and genuine and people work with you because you're amazing essentially. So just do that. And I always like to leave a little bit of podcast with a little bit of advice. And that's my piece of advice I give to everyone is just be yourself.
Dropping the mic right there. Appreciate you, man.
No worries, mate. Peace out, Jesse. Catch you later, mate.